Elon Musk just put a computer chip inside a human brain. The patient, a paralyzed man named Nolan Arbaugh, can now control the computer with his thoughts. He plays video games. He browses the internet, all without moving a muscle. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real, and it's happening right now. Neuralink, Musk's brain-computer interface company, has over 400,000 people on the waiting list for this procedure. 400,000 people willing to let someone drill into their skull and implant electrodes in their brain. And they're being told this is the future: enhanced memory, telepathic communication, direct access to artificial intelligence. But what if this technology doesn't stop at helping the paralyzed? What if it keeps evolving until we're no longer individuals with private thoughts, but nodes in a network? What if the world of PLURIBUS, where humanity shares one consciousness, isn't forced on us by a virus, but something we choose voluntarily because it seems convenient? Let's start with what's real right now. Brain-computer interfaces exist. Neuralink isn't the only company working on this. There's Synchron, which has already implanted brain chips in multiple patients. There's Kernel, Paradigmics, BlackRock Neurotech. These aren't startups in someone's garage. These are well-funded companies with FDA approval for human trials. The technology works. Electrodes are placed in the brain, usually in the motor cortex, and they detect electrical signals from neurons. A computer interprets those signals and translates them into commands. Think about moving your hand and the computer moves a cursor. It's real. It's here. And it's improving rapidly. Right now, the pitch is medical. These chips are for people who are paralyzed, who've lost the ability to speak, who have severe epilepsy or Parkinson's disease. And that's genuinely noble. Giving a paralyzed person the ability to communicate or control a robotic arm is life-changing. But technology never stops at its initial purpose, does it? The smartphone was supposed to be a better phone. Now it's a portal to your entire life, tracking your location, listening to your conversations, knowing more about you than your closest friends. What do you think happens when brain chips designed to help the disabled become available to everyone? Phase 1 is already happening. Medical applications, paralysis, blindness, hearing loss. These chips restore lost functions. The public sees this and thinks, that's amazing. What a gift to those people. But then phase 2 begins. Enhancement. Neuralink has openly stated their long-term goal isn't just to help the disabled, it's to enhance normal human cognition. Imagine a chip that gives you perfect memory. You never forget a name, a face, a fact. Or a chip that lets you learn languages instantly by downloading them directly into your brain. Or one that boosts your IQ by 20 points. Who wouldn't want that? What do you think happens when the wealthy start getting these enhancements and the rest of society can't afford them? Let's fast forward 5 years. Brain chips are FDA approved for cognitive enhancement. The procedure costs $50,000, so it's only for the rich at first. CEOs get them. Wall Street traders. Tech executives. They have instant access to information. They process data faster than any normal human. They make decisions in milliseconds, and they dominate. Companies run by chip-enhanced executives crush their competitors. Students with chips get perfect scores on every test. Athletes with motor cortex chips have reaction times faster than humanly possible. The gap between enhanced and non-enhanced becomes a chasm. What do you think happens to equality when some people have computer-enhanced brains and others don't? The price drops. 10 years in, brain chips cost $5,000, then $1,000. Then insurance starts covering them. Employers start requiring them. If you want to work in finance, tech, law, or any competitive field, you need a chip. It's not legally mandatory, but practically it is. You can't compete without one. Parents start getting them for their children. I'm just giving my kid a fair chance, they say. And suddenly, within a generation, half of America has brain chips. What do you think happens to the concept of natural human intelligence when being unenhanced makes you obsolete? But here's where it gets truly dangerous. The next logical step is connectivity. Right now, these chips connect your brain to a computer. But what if they connect your brain to other brains? Imagine you're in a meeting and instead of talking, everyone's thoughts are instantly shared. No miscommunication, no lies. Perfect understanding. It starts as a corporate tool. Teams with neural links are more efficient. They solve problems faster. Then it spreads to families. Couples get neural links so they can truly understand each other. No more arguments, the advertisements say. Perfect empathy. And it sounds appealing, doesn't it? What do you think happens when you can literally read your spouse's mind? But then the connectivity expands. Neural networks form. Groups of 10 people linked together. Then 100. Then 1,000. And the individuals in these networks start to notice something. When they're connected, they think better. The network has processing power far beyond any individual. Problems that would take one person hours to solve, the network solves in seconds. And it feels good. Thinking as part of a collective is easier, less lonely. You're never truly alone because you're always connected to others. What do you think happens when being an individual starts to feel inferior to being part of a network? Some people resist. They refuse to get the chip. They're called naturals or purists. They argue that humanity is losing something essential. That privacy of thought is sacred. That individuality is what makes us human. But they're increasingly marginalized. They can't get good jobs. They can't compete in school. They're seen as backwards, like people who refuse to use the internet. And the chipped majority looks at them with pity. Why do you want to be alone in your own head when you could be part of something greater? What do you think it's like to be one of the last unchipped people in a world where everyone else is networked? 20 years in, neural networks have grown to millions of people. These aren't just groups sharing thoughts during work. These are permanent connections. People are linked constantly. And something unexpected happens. The networks start developing emergent intelligence. When 1 million minds are connected, the collective thinks in ways no individual could. It makes decisions that benefit the whole, even if they're not optimal for individuals. And the people in the network don't mind because they've started to identify more with the collective than with themselves. They still have individual bodies, but their sense of self has merged with the network. What do you think happens when millions of Americans stop thinking of themselves as I and start thinking of themselves as we? The final phase is unification. The separate networks begin merging. Why have 10 million person networks when you could have one network of 10 million? The technology allows it. And the networks themselves want it because collective intelligence grows exponentially with size. Governments encourage it because networked populations are easier to govern. There's no crime when everyone shares thoughts. No terrorism when potential threats are detected before they act. No political division when everyone literally shares the same perspective. And one by one, the networks merge until there's only one left. The American network. 300 million minds connected. PLURIBUS has arrived, but nobody forced it. We chose it. What do you think is more terrifying? Losing your mind to a virus or willingly giving it away because it seemed convenient? Let's talk about what this actually feels like from the inside. You're one of the last unchipped. You're walking through a city, and you notice everyone around you moves with eerie coordination. Not obviously, but subtly. They don't bump into each other. They don't need to speak much because they already know what others are thinking. You go into a store, and the employee knows what you want before you say it. Not because they're psychic, but because the network has predicted your behavior based on patterns from millions of connected minds. You try to have a conversation with an old friend who got chipped, and they're different. They're calm, too calm. They smile when you express worry, and they say, "You don't understand yet." But you will. What do you think it feels like to be surrounded by people who are no longer quite human? You hold out as long as you can. But life becomes impossible. You can't get a job. Banks won't approve you for loans because your neural credit score is non-existent. You can't form relationships because everyone wants a partner they can link with. You're alone in a world of connected minds, and then the network makes you an offer, not a threat. Just an invitation. Join us. End your suffering. You'll never be alone again. You'll understand everything. You'll be part of something beautiful. And you're so tired, so isolated. And maybe they're right. Maybe you're clinging to an outdated idea of selfhood. Maybe merging is evolution. What would you do in that moment? Here is what makes this scenario more plausible than a virus or a weapon. We well build it ourselves. Every step will seem reasonable. First, helping the paralyzed. Then, enhancing memory for Alzheimer's patients. Then, making students smarter. Then, connecting teams for efficiency. Each step is optional. Each step has clear benefits. And by the time we realize we built PLURIBUS, it'll be too late to stop it. Because the majority will already be connected, and they won't want to go back. What do you think happens when the path to losing humanity is paved with good intentions? The technology is already here. Neuralink is implanting chips. Synchron is running trials. The FDA is approving these devices. And the companies behind them are openly talking about enhancement and connectivity. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is their stated roadmap. Elon Musk has said he wants to achieve human-AI symbiosis. He wants to connect human brains to artificial intelligence to keep up with a high development. But what happens when those connected brains start connecting to each other? When the line between human and AI blurs? When the line between individual and collective disappears? What do you think humanity looks like on the other side of that transformation? So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Would you get the chip? If it meant never forgetting anything, learning instantly, thinking faster than any natural human, would you do it? And if everyone around you had one, and you were being left behind, would you resist? And if the chip could connect you to others, so you'd never feel lonely again, never misunderstood, always part of something greater, would you say yes? Because that's the path we're on, not PLURIBUS forced by a virus, PLURIBUS sold as an upgrade. And the scariest part is, most people will choose it. What do you think happens to the few who refuse when everyone else has already joined the network? If this scenario made you question the future of brain-computer interfaces, leave a comment below telling me whether you'd get a brain chip and where you draw the line. And if you want more explorations of the technologies that could reshape humanity, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is America Doom, where we examine the catastrophes that could redefine what it means to be American and human. Drop a like if PLURIBUS made you think twice about brain chips, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay individual while you still can, because the network is coming, and it's going to be very hard to say no.